You're alone in your living room. The lights are off. The muted blue glare of the TV reminds you of just how helpless you really are. Thunder shrieks, the wind howls, and the attic creaks. A knock at the door surprises you. Oh!
Hey, I didn't order any pizza.
You stand up as the door crashes open.
Oh, yeah.
And the Murder Schmurder crew enters your home. They're yelling jokes, pop culture references, and start mansplaining some of the most vile true crimes you've ever heard of. You listen to them, unsure at first, but relaxing into it. Pretty soon you're laughing, horrified, and strangely turned on. At some point they realize they've forgotten to introduce themselves. So make room in your heart for Grant, Jamie, Austin, Carlton, Joseph, and the friends, lovers, and or acquaintances they pressure into hanging out. Just like your creepy boss that has no friends.
Hey, why don't we hang out more?
Please make some room for Murder Schmurder!
Alrighty, boys. I think we're ready for episode 3 ever. The third one of all time of the little podcast called Murder Schmurder. We picked it because it was really easy to say, and I think we nailed it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it rhymes. And, you know, anything that helps lay the bedrock of a foundation, you know, like really putting those brick by brick by brick, I think is helpful.
Rhymes.
And and rhymes. You need fresh rhymes. Yeah. Ask Public Enemy. You need fresh rhymes as the backdrop of any successful endeavor.
Well, you know what? In that case, you're right. But we got a little rotating cast of hopefully funny people tonight. I am hosting this one. My name's Graham. I'm joined by my good buddy over here across the table, Joseph.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, Grant said hopefully funny, and hopefully we will be. And to aid with that, we have someone to my right side, my evil side, Jamie.
Hang on. Left is supposed to be the evil side.
Well, I'm left-handed, so I don't consider it my evil side.
But
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
Doesn't that make you naturally evil?
Yes, it does.
I wouldn't ask that question too close.
But wouldn't the evil of evil be the good?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be more evil. What if your right is like the most evil? Well, I guess you're right. Now, then.
See, I am right. See what you just did? You just got into a verbal bear trap. Now you can either chew through your leg or you can just sit there and take it.
I'm going to chew through my leg, Alex. Let's go with that.
Let's go with chew through my leg for 200.
Well, I did want to start today off with something that wanted to make me chew through my leg, which was, well, call the highlight of the week because it's the funniest thing that happened to me this week. I got selected for jury duty.
Nice.
Not only just they, sent me a letter in the mail and said jury duty, and I said, oh, fuck, and then I forgot about it, and then I remembered, and then I signed in online, and I was like, oh, good, I didn't miss the deadline, so I won't get arrested for that would be the stupidest thing I ever would have been arrested for.
You can get arrested for not going to jury duty?
Absolutely.
I thought they just like, oh, I guess you'll catch you next time.
It's kind of on par with like getting arrested for too many parking tickets, It's unlikely to happen.
But it totally could.
It's legally, yes.
You can get arrested for too many parking tickets?
That too.
We're learning so many things today.
What do they charge you with?
Dereliction of parking tickets?
I don't know. Well, parking tickets is, I guess, theft against the city.
Fuck the city.
Jury duty is akin to like obstruction of justice because it's your civic duty to be there.
But the cops are the one who probably arrested this guy on some trumped up charges, and you mean to tell me I'm the one obstructing justice?
In that context, yes.
Fuck.
Legally speaking.
Legally speaking,
Isn't that fun? Isn't it so fun, the jurisdiction system?
Isn't it awesome?
I mean, the judicial system, I just love it. So anyways, I have to go 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday. So I've already won the lottery, right? Because there's almost 70,000 registered drivers in Davidson County. Out of those 70,000, they call 140. I'm one of those 140. Pretty good scratcher right there already, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there. I don't really know how to get there. I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to park. So I'm like hoofing it and like stressed out. And I'm like, hey, mean officer, security guard guy, where am I supposed to go? Jury duty. He's like, around the corner. I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. And I find a bunch of other pissed off people. I'm like, oh, great, I'm here. Now, they had 4 cases that day. They're going to select 12 per case. So you got 48 people out of 140. I also won that fucking scratcher. So I'm just winning, dude. I am winning hard this day.
Do they interview you, or is it just
Yeah, I did the whole motherfucking thing. So they call out 48 people and then another 48, basically. And then they took twice of what they would need to each courtroom, right? So
Okay.
I get into the courtroom. They call up the first 12 people. Then they call up another 6 people that are kind of like in the reserve seats.
They have jurors on the bench, like just waiting.
Yeah, so they call the 12 up. Those are going to be technically, potentially, those are the jurors on the bench.
Right.
And then they call up, 6 that will be on like, backup.
They're like JV.
Yeah, JV, right? So I get selected for JV. And as it goes along, it's, I'll explain later, but they don't want doctors. They usually don't. And they definitely don't want lawyers, ever, right? If you're a lawyer or you work in a law office or you're a lawyer's assistant, you're out of there. You know what I mean? Just because...
I assume because you know the tricks of the trade.
Exactly, yes.
And you could be like, well, he just did this, which is kind of not so good.
Right.
But wouldn't they want that? No, because then that would throw a wrench into the cogs of their horrible engine of destruction.
More or less, yes.
Hang on, can you just say like, oh, I went to law school? Or can you just drop that?
Maybe.
They probably check that.
But that's the thing, though, is like, do you want to lie in that context?
Because then they got you lying under oath. Because I assume you have to get like,
I took
whatever
an oath before they asked the
oathicized.
question,
What do they call it when you are given an oath?
Sworn in.
Sworn in. Mm-hmm. I like oathicized, but
Oathicized is better, yeah. So anyways, there were 2 doctors, 3 lawyers, right? And so I get called up, I think second, actually. So I'm sitting in the 6 reserve seats, and I got called to be on, like, actually in the jury. And then they go around, and we already took our oath. And the first question they asked everyone was, like, your full name, what you do for a living, if you're married or single, and if you have children. I don't know why those are important questions, but that's what they wanted.
I guess if you fuck up those questions, and they're like, yeah, you can't answer.
I don't have any kids. Shit, I have 2. Get him out of here.
Get this fucking idiot out of here. That's what I should have done.
You should have been like, hey, I'm Grant. I excel at everything I do. I don't have any kids that I know about.
Oh! I have an air horn in my back pocket. Yeah, I love that. So anyways, my valid excuse, in my opinion, was the fact that I'm the owner-operator of a small business, right? Like, if I miss several days, that means my company
That's the business.
is hurting.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They glossed right over that shit. So I stood up and I just listed off a whole bunch of things because I'm thinking, like, the busier I sound, the sooner they'll let me go,
Stands to reason, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, my name's Graham. I'm the owner-operator of a small business. It's lawn care and landscaping. I'm a bartender part-time. I'm also a musician, and I, like, dabble in, like, comedy and, like, entertainment or something like that. And I swear to God, they were just like, oh, you're a musician. What do you play? And I'm like, fuck, I just buried the lead somehow. I'm like, drums. I'm like, thank you. Next. And I'm like, fuck. And it just keeps going. And then I knew I was fucked because I kept kicking doctors and lawyers out. Like, again, there was like 5. And it gets back around to where the prosecutor was asking the initial set of questions, and then the defense was asking another set of questions, and they would like vote. So they would like write down on little pieces of paper and pass it up to the judge, and the judge would be like, "All right, so and so, you're gone. So and so, you're gone." And then the judge, the courtroom clerk would read up a couple of other names, and then they'd come sit in the hot seat. By the time it got back around to me again for questions, fucking defense lawyer was like, and Grant Bramlett, actually, you're good. Next.
Oh, man.
Damn it, I'm definitely fucking doing this shit.
This is like the worst game of Survivor. Like, no, vote me off.
Yeah,
Like,
please vote me off.
Can you hang on? I'm trying to think of ways to get out of this now. Because, like, one, like, could you just be like, I'm not technically a doctor? Wink. Like, would that get you out of it? Like, because they were like, you're obviously inappropriate.
Maybe. I don't know.
You might be
you
a
should have
doctor.
shown up
Well,
wearing like a
actually-
female body inspector shirt
Yeah.
and like
Would've
been
been good.
really like terse, just really short with everyone.
Look like you got your entire outfit from Hot Topic.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
and
all these are great ideas, and I regret not doing all of them.
So
in retrospect,
another great idea. Real
a
quick.
point of advice for anybody listening: listen to what these fucking idiots are saying because it might actually work. Who knows?
Piss yourself. If you piss yourself, they're gonna let you go.
Okay,
That's like that's like a pulling the pin out the grenade though.
I've already done this, and
That's true.
You can do this. Anyone can do this. It's very easy. So you can go on LinkedIn, you can make a profile, and you can just say on your profile what school you went to. It doesn't ask for any verification. So on my LinkedIn profile, it says that I went to Harvard Business School. It also says
Didn't it say you worked at NASA?
Yeah, I graduated from MIT and I work for NASA. And the way I did this to back it up is I started adding people who also went to those schools, and like teachers, students, and then same thing for NASA. Like I started, but like just adding tons of people, like who work for NASA, and even one guy hit me up and was like, "You write screenplays and you also work for NASA?" I was like, "Yes, I'm very busy." And he's like, "Can you help me get a job?" I was like, "I don't have that kind of time."
Man, this is going to read so great in the court of law. So here it says that you went to Harvard Business School and worked for NASA.
That is correct.
Well, now we actually have looked into this, and that neither of those facts are true.
Yeah, I work for a super secret division of NASA, so they don't have any of my employment records on file. So that makes sense. You wouldn't have found out about it.
Yes, sir. Not only does that not exist, but we also verified that that's also not the case. Now, it's very clear to me that you were a comedy writer. Now, is this some form of comedy that you decided to put on a public profile?
See, here's the way to get out of that. Like when they're like, obviously they want a yes or no, just be like, I find it offensive that you think that I would find something like that comical. You think do I look like a person who would make a joke about that? And then just like, well,
that's pretty good.
See, I was just going to yell that comedy and parody are protected by the First Amendment. Flip the table and run the fuck out of there.
Arrest that man.
I like both of these. Yeah, one's might work actually. The other one definitely not Joseph. But I'd love to see it.
I feel like if I went for a jury duty, like interview, I think they would just tell me to leave.
With the tattoos?
I think just how
didn't work for me. I mean, maybe, but you have a lot more tattoos than I do. So
I feel like I would just try to be as like not give a shit, straight up angry as possible, and hope that would like.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
like
not
be
gonna
irrational.
Lie. In that moment, it was a little intimidating. I'm like, man, I've been on the wrong side of this whole situation too many times. And I don't want to do anything else to fuck. I just want to get out of this courtroom as soon as possible before they're like, hey, wait a minute, like, let's arrest this guy again for some reason,
Yeah.
Quick question. So you saw other people that got picked. Did anyone have a face tattoo?
No.
Oh.
Because that seems like the easiest one. Like, without having to lie, like, just go get a temporary tattoo and just load
put it on your face.
up.
Oh, fuck.
That's a great idea.
And then just like, are those real? Or is what real?
Yeah. I love that. That would actually be the perfect opportunity for me to try my face tattoo idea that I've had for a very long time.
Ooh, please tell.
Yeah, so it's a little tiny giraffe standing on the top of my beard, and he's nibbling on my eyebrow. I'm gonna permanently dye that eyebrow green, and I'm gonna tattoo a tree trunk all along my nose line down to my mustache. What do you think?
Big yes. I am in favor.
I kind of love it. I also like the idea of you telling people like, "Yeah, I got it in prison."
Wow, they did a really good job.
Yeah, I was part of the Giraffes, real big gang in prison. We ate a lot of eucalyptus, stabbed a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. Do giraffes eat
I was actually
eucalyptus?
the COO of the gang.
With the long
COO of the gang.
Yeah, I was part of the long necks.
The long necks.
We always got to see what was going on. It was tough times. But anyways,
Go on, sorry.
I get stuck in this fucking thing, right? It goes on for a day and a half. Proceeds to be the most boring fucking case. I mean, come on. I'm stuck here. Like, at least somebody kill somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what happened was a guy from Antioch accidentally rear-ended a woman that lived in Franklin.
Oh, that was the Antioch guy's first mistake, was getting anywhere near someone from Franklin.
I know. He rear-ended her in her minivan. Her airbags did not go off, by the way. But she was a personal trainer, and she sued him for loss of wages, a loss of quality of life, pain and suffering because her ass hurt. Literally. Now, the way they said it was that, it messed up her, like, the alignment of her lower spine, and she had, like, a nerve pain and a burning sensation going through her sciatica. But come on, that means that her ass hurt.
Yeah.
That's what she's claiming, right? This has been in, like, the courts. She filed this lawsuit 3 years ago.
Jesus
Three
Christ.
fucking years
Does her ass
ago.
even still hurt?
Probably not. So all
Did
of this
anyone think to
happens-
ask her?
Well, yeah. More
Yo,
or
lady, your
less,
butt still
but
hurt?
The courts are weird as shit, man. Like, you can't. There's certain things that you just can't ask, right? Because like, there's no way that you can found it. Like, you can't prove. So if you ask,
You can't prove her ass doesn't hurt.
Exactly. So that would be an objection, right? So if the defense lawyer was literally like, ma'am, does your ass still hurt? Then the prosecuting lawyer would be like, objection, and then probably the judge would say, abstained.
But what if you pulled some Saul Goodman type shit and put like a whoopee cushion on her seat, and if she sat down on it and it farted and everyone laughed and she didn't jump up like, oh my God, my ass hurts, you'd be like, well, see, not only was that funny, but it looks like your ass doesn't hurt.
Nice. So we find out that this all happened pre-COVID. And she went to like 11 sessions of physical therapy. When she was released from physical therapy, she reported to the physician there that she had a 0 out of 10 pain measurement. Right?
Okay.
Which means that
That's
she's
good.
better,
Yeah.
theoretically, right? And then COVID happens a little while later. But she claims that she was just doing the physical therapy on her own because she's a personal trainer and she knows how to do all this shit, right? She went to the doctor one other time, and then she went for just like a regular annual checkup. And then she went to a doctor to basically start compiling her lawsuit case that like compiled all of this information into from one doctor, more or less. And I swear to God, by the time the defense lawyer got around to her when she's on the stand, it was just, I don't recall. If that's what it says, then I guess that's what I was doing. That's where I was. All this bullshit. I'm like, that bitch, no, fuck you, dude. Fuck you so hard, And the loss of quality of life was that they had to skip one hiking trip as a family. They went to Disney World.
So she was able to get onto the plane or ride in a car on her butt for an extended amount of time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, maybe she stood on her head.
Maybe she sat on
But I
her
think
head.
air marshals will fucking take your ass out if you sit on your head on
They'd
a
at
plane.
least look twice at you, And I bet
Right.
the flight attendant would be like, ma'am, please flip over like a normal person, And the other one was that when her son graduated from college, her husband had to take her to the airport, and he drove because she couldn't ride in the car for that long. That's her pain and suffering that she's claiming that has happened here.
And how
okay?
much, monetarily speaking, what does that equate to her?
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay, keep going.
So the husband has also filed into this lawsuit in something that's called consortium. I've never heard of this before.
Consortium.
But apparently certain states, Tennessee is one of them, you can legally jump onto your partner's, if you're married, lawsuit if whatever happened to them affects your marriage.
Is this going to lead into the pain and suffering that I had to endure listening to my wife? Am I right, fellas?
Dude, it wasn't that far off.
Oh, my God.
So he's on the stand, and what he says is that there was a time where she had to lay in the back seat while he drove a long trip, that he's had to start doing all the vacuuming because that position
No.
was
No,
too
he
bad
didn't
for
say
her.
that.
He fucking said that on the stand, my guy. And that he had to start helping out with the dishes sometimes.
No. Sometimes.
It was amazing.
Dude, that's the best. Like, I'm hoping that there's no pain and she's just milking it.
Like she's just too far gone to like drop the suit and be like, you know what, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
It's either let's fucking take this idiot for all he's worth, or
Which probably isn't that much.
honey, we're in too deep. You know what I mean?
We gotta really just keep going.
We just gotta go with this. Like it's going to fucking a jury court. Like we gotta fucking do this.
Like 12 people are gonna sit there and
Yeah.
listen to us fucking talk about this.
Yeah, 12 people are gonna fucking have their day and a half ruined. So this is all Monday. And then it gets a little too late, and then we have to go back
To go again.
on Tuesday. I have to go back for final statements or whatever that the lawyers do. And then we go back and we deliberate. So what they need from us is a number amount on 5 different line items, right? So it's like pain and suffering, loss of quality of life, which are so... Actually, what one of the lawyers called squishy. That motherfucker said squishy.
His
And I'm
legal
like,
term was
aren't you a goddamn lawyer? Come
squishy.
on, man. So basically, that's hard to define. That's hard to put a dollar amount.
It's very
to,
open-ended.
Can you-
It's incredibly
Just
open-ended.
please tell me this turns into 12 Angry Men.
I wish.
Oh,
Because at least that'd be funny.
yeah.
So the third one is medical expenses. And then is consortium. Oh, and then loss of wages. So loss
Right.
of wages, medical expenses, and then the consortium thing, the husband line.
So
Basically.
that gets its whole own line
Yeah.
that he has to do the dishes sometimes. That
I ain't doing it for free, baby.
yeah.
I gotta make this
Yeah.
guy pay.
That'd be like if I did chores at the house and then left a bill for Sarah.
What the fuck, dude?
And just
So we get in there, and I'm like, I've been like relatively like. There's been a couple of moments where I could be chatty with these fucking normal people, and dude, like, it's so weird to be randomly lumped into a group because it's like a fire chief, a girl that's going to law school, someone that's going to cosmetology school, a high school teacher, just normal me, you know, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna fucking chill. If I need to say something, I'll say something. So we get in there, and one of the guy is an engineer. He's like, well, you know what? Let's like kind of keep this thing moving. Let's start with the easy things. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. How about the consortium line? And a couple of people smirk and snigger, and I'm like, okay, great. Well, I personally vote 0, like a hard 0 on that line, you know? And everybody's like, yeah, okay, pretty much. A couple kind of laugh. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking serious. Are you
Like,
are you-
nothing.
Are you kidding me right now? I did the dishes last night. No, shut up with that. You know? And one other guy piped up and was like, yeah, isn't it like in sickness and health? And I'm like, I rest my case. All right, moving on. You know. And then we get to
now I'm not no big city lawyer, but
so we get to the easier ones like the medical thing, and so we decide that when she left physical therapy, that's her cutoff, right?
Yeah, it
so
seems fair.
anything that she had to pay then,
when she reported 0 on a scale of 0 to 10 pain,
that's exactly what we
seems
did.
like the physical
So,
therapy was done.
the moment of the wreck until that day, which is like 3 months. And so we looked at loss of wages. We kind of dove into her, like her taxes and shit. Like they put them up on the big screen. I'm like, that's fucking, I don't know, man. I would never go through with this to begin with. And then in that moment, I know that I'd made a mistake if like there's a room full of people in the court of law looking at my fucking tax records because I want some money from this poor bastard who accidentally rear-ended her at a green light, by the way. I forgot to mention that.
At a green light?
Green light.
No.
Right.
Throw it out.
I agree. So we come up with our numbers there. She's obviously lying on her loss of wages because we kind of do some math. We figure out how much she earns a day, theoretically, how many days that she could have missed work.
Oh, and that's hard too because
was
she doesn't
feeling-
have a set wage. She's a personal trainer, so you have to
Exactly, yeah.
kind of.
So it took a little while
Yeah.
to figure it out, but we're like, okay, cool. Less than half of what she's claiming. That seems logical. That seems fair. And then we get to those squishy ones. In both of these line items, there was this one girl. She's 22 years old, nursing student. And I could just tell she was going to be a problem. I just knew she was going to be that one. You
Yeah.
know, that fucking bitch in the room. Because they were like, somebody has to speak for all of y'all. You know, when you read the
Right.
verdict and
Head
everything.
juror or whatever.
Yeah, does anybody want to be that? She's like, oh, could I be that person? And
Oh, she volunteered. Oh, no.
bitch. You know, and everybody else in the room is like, fuck yeah, you do it. I don't want to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. You know, and it gets down to those. And we come up with a number. It took forever. And I was like, okay, cool. I think we're about ready to vote on this. Everybody, everybody raises their hand except for her. It has to be unanimous. So 11 people in a room say yes after like an hour and a half of talking about some
12
bullshit.
angry men, yes.
Can you believe that that one person would still be like, nah, I don't think she's getting enough money. I'm like, fucking damn it, bitch. I want to go. I'm hungry and I need to get back to work, So it took like another 45 minutes. We finally get her happy. And then that other squishy line, as that lawyer said, 11 people said yes, and this fucking little bitch says no again. And I'm like, the ball's on you. Are you serious right now? I guess you have nowhere else better to be, It took, so we finally get it done.
What's the difference in money? Like from what the 11 people agreed?
About half. She wanted, we finally agreed to do twice as much as what we had all decided to do.
So what 11 apparently reasonable people said was good. You had to double for this one bitch.
We had to double for her to fucking shut up.
God damn.
It has to be unanimous, right? So we go back into court, and we all agree that this guy has to pay $17,500 to this woman. And then court's over. And then we get back into our little room. And then the judge, and he comes and does this weird little exit interview thing. And while he's talking to us, he's like, any questions that I'm allowed to answer, I'll be happy to do so. He's actually a really nice guy. Says at some point that they had already agreed upon $25,000. Which means that before this woman decided to waste 12 people's day and a half in court, that she was already going to get $25,000. And if we had said anything over $25,000, that's what she would have gotten. But if it was anything
but the bare minimum,
$25,000 automatically rolls up to $25,000.
How the fuck did she swing that?
Don't know, don't care, but I do know that she said, that's not enough, let's fucking do this thing. So
you guys also wasted your day and a half talking about it.
Total waste of time.
Because she was going to get $25K anyway.
25K. Can you believe that?
God, American justice, man. You got to love it.
And I mean, that was actually the realization that I made. Like, if you just decide to sue someone, you already have the upper hand,
Right.
Because
you're the attacker.
Yeah, exactly. If you win, your earnings are going to go towards your lawyer fees, right? And a lot of times those lawyers will say, if you don't win, it's free for you.
Right.
Because they expect to win.
Right.
Defense lawyers are already on the defense, obviously, So
that makes sense.
I guess the moral here is don't rear end people from Franklin, or if you ever think somebody might sue you, just sue them first. Just fucking sue them first,
So
you can't sue me, I sue you,
Avoid every Williamson County plate and be ready to fucking strike.
Hang on. Could he countersue for not going on a green light?
Well, no, because it legally was his fault because there was an ambulance approaching the intersection, and that's why she had stopped. So she could have gone. He should have seen the ambulance. I don't know. It's really, really hard. Like, if you ever rear end somebody in traffic, it's usually your fault. There's a couple of extenuating circumstances, but for the most part, if the front of your car hits the back of somebody else's car, you're fucked.
I'm not saying that you should do hit and run because I believe it's a felony.
It absolutely is, yeah.
But like in that,
in this situation,
yeah, like
guy maybe he should have gone for it.
Maybe. I'm not condoning that, obviously. Oh, and anybody?
No, we would never condone anything like that.
I mean, if the airbags didn't like.
Why didn't she sue fucking Chevrolet or whoever the fuck?
I know, right? So fucking stupid. It was so fucking stupid.
Hang on,
but a great story.
Do you know if like were either of the cars totaled? Or was
His
it like,
was, yeah.
Oh, so it was bad. Okay.
No. He was driving like a Hyundai. They're made to crumple. Like,
so his car got ruined and he owes this bitch $25,000?
Yeah, that's exactly how
Oh my God, man.
Isn't that great?
Shout out to the Antioch guy. That sucks.
I know. Now, if anybody doesn't live in Middle Tennessee, Antioch is less than affluent, and Williamson County or Franklin, specifically is the most affluent area of Tennessee.
Yeah, sorry, we got
where-
kind of local with it for a sec, but
That
yeah.
is where like the country music stars and a couple of like A-list actors and
It's where like Justin Timberlake has a house and like fucking what's a goddamn dude's name?
Johnny Depp lives down there.
Keith Urban, I think, has a house there. Yeah, it's like, like he's railing Nicole Kidman in Franklin, and Antioch is like they set out like dummy cars to just wait for someone to try to steal them so they can catch them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, Antioch is also a lot better than like 15, 20 years ago when it was just an absolute hellhole.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
But shout out to Antioch. I'd say I'd much
prefer
rather
going there.
I'd much rather spend a day in Antioch than in Franklin.
Absolutely.
No, I hate Antioch. You'll never catch me out there.
Franklin also has more cops than any other place in Tennessee.
I don't believe that. Every time I'm in Antioch, I feel like I'm being tailed the whole time.
There are a lot in Antioch, but I think what it is like in relation to population. You know what I mean? I think there's like way more officers per person in Franklin than there are in Antioch. It's just in Antioch, they're all over the place.
Oh yeah, dude, I don't trust it.
Also,
I was
do not get a DUI down there. It is
In Franklin?
horrible.
or Antioch
That's
or
why I
both.
hear.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to say, how about don't get a DUI?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shit year that you'll have to live. That's for sure. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys want to hear about Dr. Satan?
Yes.
Yes.
So here's our little meat and potatoes of the podcast of Murder Schmurder, where I talk about some really dark shit and they try and come up with some funny stuff around it.
Can we go back and add a guitar solo every time you talk about Dr. Satan?
Yeah.
Every time you just say it?
Yeah, I got a little hard rock thing, so we'll say anytime I say Dr. Satan. It's good enough for now.
Yeah. I like
Yeah. It's a placeholder.
Yeah, good placeholder. So Dr. Satan was born in France in 1897.
Didn't think France of all the places. Nothing against
I'm
France,
hoping
but
that's like his birth name. His like mom picks him up and it's just like, oh God.
yeah, he's
Dr.
just
Satan,
got like
sure.
a wet mouth full of teeth, and they're just like Dr. Satan,
Shark.
Dr. Satan.
Now, his actual name was Marcel Petiot, and he was born in France in 1897. Now, multiple schools throughout France expelled him for his behavior. Though he did finish his schooling by the age of 18 in 1915. But one of the reasons why he got kicked out at one point, at the age of 11, Petiot fired his father's gun in class.
Like into the ceiling?
Yeah.
Are there handguns at this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering if it's like a musket. And you're like, where'd you get that fucking musket?
That'd be amazing. Hold on. Like I'm loading the ball. Here we go.
Marcel, you better stop. Just starts loading faster.
Yeah, it's like post World War One. So yeah, there were definitely handguns going on, and his dad served. But he also found and brought porn to school, which
Old timey
In what
porn
year?
too.
1915. Can you believe that shit? Oh wait, but this is pre 1915 because I was 18. So let's do quick math. So that's like
What?
Like 1906 or something.
Yeah.
When did we have photographs?
I think like late 1800s.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually a Frenchman who invented.
So it was like
Photography,
porn
right?
is fresh on the scene. It's like I've got it.
Oh, dude, porn's been around since there have been people.
that's true. But
They've been putting
we're talking
naked
about
ladies on like
photographed
vases and
porn,
stuff.
Though,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
and that-
photographed porn.
Or-
and that was obviously one of the first photographs ever taken was of a naked lady.
Obviously.
I'll die on that hill.
Do you think like big bush or no bush?
Massive bush.
You think so? Because I know in the
Haven't
70s
touched
it was
that
like
bush.
in France, dude.
pre-World War I France. Yeah.
Yeah, the bush is rampant.
Oh yeah. He also propositioned a classmate for sex
Nice.
at the age of 11. Just
He probably didn't even know what sex was at
What
that point.
Like? That's like sixth grade.
I think he had a really good idea. I mean, fuckers already found porn somehow.
Hang on,
know?
when did he get the porn? What year was that?
At the age of 11, so 1906-ish, yeah.
At the age
we'll
of
go
11,
with that rough math.
he
yeah.
found the porn,
Uh-huh.
and then at what
He
age?
brought it to school, 11.
Oh no, what age did he propose the sex?
Oh,
Same
the
age?
Best I could tell, it was all around like
The
9
same time.
to 12 to 13, like 9 to 13-ish,
Like
This-
they expelled him, and then
This
like
boy
don't
is
get
too
get
young to be doing
expelled
this shit.
at the next school. I swear. And he's like, okay, I promise. You want to have sex?
Dude, this Pepe Le Pew motherfucker is like a full-on
Right.
delinquent.
In his teenage years, he robbed a post box, which I think was a slight to his dad, who was a lifelong postman. After he got out of World War
Oh, that's definitely a
he
fuck
went
you,
into
dad
the
move.
Postal Services, and that's what he did.
It's fun.
And was charged with damage of public property and theft. So Petiot, at this point, was ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation, resulting in charges being dropped when it was discovered that he had a mental illness, which is fucking the most French thing I've ever fucking heard.
Also, do you know how obviously huge your like mental illness has to be for like 1910s France to diagnose it? And they weren't exactly on the cutting edge of mental health.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's demons.
yeah, right. He's got ill humors, you know. Like he must have been obviously fucked up if they were like, oh yeah, no, there's definitely something with this kid.
Absolutely. Now, later accounts make various claims of Petiot's delinquency and criminal acts during his youth, but it's unclear whether they were invented afterwards for public consumption. For example, one neighbor claimed that he would catch birds, poke out their eyes, and starve them to death while cackling wildly at their desperate cries for help. I seriously
I don't have a joke for that one.
I honestly think that dude just wanted a quote in the paper. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was his time to
Although
shine.
I will say French people do have, I don't think they do it anymore, but they have those birds that they would poke their eyes out and then feed them a bunch of like berries and grain and shit to fatten them up. And then they'd, drown them in wine. And then they just eat the birds whole after roasting them.
Why do you have to cut their eyes out? That seems disgusting.
So the idea of it is that birds know when it's day or night, right? Because they see. So birds can tell if it's day or night, and they have their own feeding cycle, right? But if you
Yeah.
poke out their eyes and you put a curtain over their cage, they don't know what time it is, and they'll just keep eating. Because birds are also stupid.
That's the darkest, fucked up thing. Like, who thought of that? You're just like, yeah, if you poke out their eyes, they don't stop eating.
Probably Dr. Satan. He probably invented this dish.
That's really
It's a rich culinary tradition that goes back to this crazy fucking Pierre dude. Marcel? Pierre? See, that was
Okay,
nationalist
he murdered a
to
lot of
me.
people, but he helped me make the best foie gras I've ever made in my life.
But all I got to say is this motherfucker can cook.
Now, a psychiatrist, reaffirmed Petiot's mental illness on March 26th of 1914. After being expelled many times, he finished his education in a special academy in Paris. So I think like basically an asylum for, preteens. He then enlisted in the military. However, the extent of his service is debatable as he spent long periods of time away on quote-unquote rest, likely due to his kleptomania.
Hang on real quick, just to back up the academy thing.
Uh-huh.
All I can immediately think of is like Dr. Xavier's like academy. So I'm like, it's like the X-Men, but just for the most demented humans.
So it's like Xavier's School for fucked up youngsters.
Yeah.
So this guy's carting around a gun and porn and a freaking out bird. Yeah, okay, cool.
We call that guy Wolverine because he's got claws. No, he ate his sister.
Actually, this is starting to make sense. Like, imagine he's an X-Men. What's his X-Men name? Dr. Satan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the Halloween edition of like X-Men, yeah.
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 Okay, sorry.
So eventually,
What about the kleptomania? I'm sorry, I got caught up.
he was
On top of
Wow,
all
in
this,
the-
he was a thief.
while in the military. He was put on.
They let him in the military?
They let him in the military.
It was way back when. I
And then
mean,
he started
and also it
stealing
was
shit. And then they were like, "Okay, let's put him on rest." Which
Jamie.
I think that means they just locked his ass away.
Can you think of another event post World War I that might make French people more enthusiastic for having a larger military? Can you think of anything around that time that might have made them think we're not going to turn people away?
Okay, you're going.
So eventually, his consistent thievery, particularly of military blankets,
Blankets, okay.
he's stealing everybody's blankets. That's fucking rude.
Can't stand for that.
That's fucked up.
I know he has them. Look in his closet. Listen, he didn't steal the blanket.
He's the warmest motherfucker I've ever seen. This piece of shit took my blanket. I know it.
Fucker's over here sweating. I've been cold for a week and a half. Damn it, That actually got him jailed for a short period in Orleans, or before New Orleans.
Old Orleans.
Yeah, Old Orleans. Yeah. Military officers finally discharged Petiot with disability benefits at the recommendation.
They gave this
of
motherfucker
another-
disability benefits.
Yeah, at the
Just get
recommendation
him out of here.
of another psychiatrist who believed Petiot had a mental breakdown of sorts. Now, to be fair, the troubled officer, he made it to officer, by the way, had literally shot himself in the foot and required a hospital stay. Some accounts refer to a grenade instead, which is much fucking crazier, by the way.
Yeah.
But he either partially blew up his foot with a grenade or intentionally shot himself in the foot so he didn't have to, I don't know, go do drills or go to the front line. I'm not really sure. But
That's the one part of him so far that I'm like, okay, I kind of see where you were
Yeah.
going with this.
Yeah. Now, after his bout in the military came to a close, psychiatrists recommended Petiot be committed to an asylum. Instead, he somehow managed to intern at one and attend medical school. I don't know what the fuck he managed to say, but he said something.
Dude, this
He said
must have
something
been one smooth talking Frenchman that they're about to like inter this motherfucker, and he's just like, "No, hold on a second. What if I worked with you?"
Yeah. So, I mean, it's clear that, like, this dude's a fucking genius. Crazy as all hell, but definitely a genius. Because he graduated medical school in 8 months.
8 months?
8 months. And with a medical degree in hand, he went to work in Villeneuve-sur-Yvonne, I think. I don't know. In 1921.
I'm sorry.
It's
you-
a small town. I'll try again if you want me to.
Did you say his medical degree was in hands?
He had a medical degree in hand, and he
Oh.
went to a small town in France.
Sorry,
called
I thought
whatever the fuck.
I thought you meant he specialized in studying and treating
Oh, no,
hands.
that'd be amazing. No.
Sorry.
So there he received payment for his. So he's still collecting disability this whole time, by the way. And he opens up his own practice. Did some really shady shit also. Like he basically flyered this little town saying that all the other doctors were like old or out of touch with the new medical practices or like doing some shady shit and that he's the good one, you know? And so he's bringing people in.
He's the Doogie Howser of small town France.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's bringing people in. And any of the patients that he would serve, he would also report it to the government that they needed assistance funds. So they would pay in full, and then he'd tell the government that they didn't pay at all. And so he's doubling down on every patient that he sees.
Yes.
You know, like fraud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Also, at this point, Petiot was already using addictive narcotics.
I mean, he was also a doctor.
Yes.
In like, early
easy
1900s. He probably was just like, hey, I need a bottle of cocaine for medicine. And they were like, here you go.
Yeah, here you go, doctor. Yeah, absolutely. Now, working in this town that I'm not going to try and pronounce again, he gained a reputation for dubious medical practices, such as supplying narcotics and performing illegal abortions, as well as petty theft. But somehow he still maintained a good public opinion. But apparently,
Probably all the drugs and abortions.
probably so.
People probably appreciated
all
that.
abortions illegal at the time?
No, there's like a thing you got to do, I think.
So he was doing more like ramshackle ass abortions.
Yeah, I think they
What's a
were
ramshackle?
Like broken down, kind of like
coat hanger.
strung together, with twine and stuff.
I was more so thinking because I imagine France, to my understanding, has been pretty sex positive, correct?
Yeah, it's been very
I would think so.
And so
Pretty
I
much
imagine
forever.
They seem like a
abortions
sexy
wouldn't
people.
be a big deal as long as they were handled appropriately and quickly. So I imagine the illegal ones would be like, so how pregnant are you? Oh, 8 months, and I am not
Jesus
feeling
Christ.
it.
Yeah.
So-
Think of it that way. That's rough.
Yeah, so I'm imagining he's just like, oh, I can fix that.
Real back alley type stuff.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But he still had a good public opinion, so he'd be invited to like the nice parties and stuff, and people hosting a party would notice small items missing, right? Usually nothing of any real value, but that alludes to like heavily of like real kleptomania. Like motherfuckers doubling down, actually tripling down. He's still getting disability from the military.
Yeah.
He's getting full payment from his patients, and he's getting the money from the government for his patients, and he still needs to steal that little thing.
Because he's
when he
just
goes to the
stealing
party.
because he has to, not for like,
Yeah.
oh, this silverware will fetch something. He's
Yeah.
just like, I need this pencil.
Yeah. Now, it's never been proven, but many people suspect that Petio's first victim was Louise Delavio, his lover and the daughter of one of his patients in this town that I'm not going to try and pronounce again. She disappeared in 1926, shortly after the two began having an affair. No one heard from Delavio ever again. Though when authorities began conducting an investigation into her disappearance, neighbors reported that they had seen Petio putting a very large trunk into his automobile.
It sounds like an open shut case. Yeah. She's missing the guy she's been banging. Like,
Hey, you know that guy we call Dr. Satan? I think I saw him loading a human-sized trunk into the back of his sedan the other day. We should probably check on that.
as a police officer, you just never know what's in those trunks. So
I got to say, I'm pretty committed to drinking wine and smoking cigarettes today, so I'm not going to go check that out.
So nothing came of this. They couldn't link him to the crime. And so
How could they not?
I don't know, but that happened. Shortly after her disappearance, Petio decided to run for mayor.
Sure.
now that I got that pop,
He keeps failing upwards. Like, he might as well be president of France. Like,
Now, he won the seat of mayor because he hired someone to cause a commotion during a debate and fluster his opponent. I
Hey,
couldn't figure out what
fuck
this
you.
commotion was. This was like old, like newspaper clippings or whatever, but it just said he caused a commotion.
so he's probably just just yelling at this dude while he's answering questions. Like,
Yeah. Now, the first thing Petio did upon becoming mayor was embezzle all of the town's money
Yes.
and
Yes.
steal a bass drum from the town's marching band.
not the bass drum.
Okay, guys, you're not going to believe this, but I think the mayor stole my bass drum.
Did you just see that? It's like, why is that guy taking that bass drum out of the marching band?
There's
room?
too much heat on the oboe. If I take that, they'll know I took it. I got to get the bass drum.
The fucking mayor?
Like, hang on. So they know it was him, right?
They found out later, yeah.
Okay.
At the time, no, but
Or like, did like they throw him in jail and then like go through his house like that's the bass drum.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I killed that lady. Oh, yeah, that bass drum you guys missed? Yeah, I took that.
so they definitely found out that he embezzled all the town's money, and so there was a brief cycle of him resigning political posts, only to be voted into another one. So you talk about failing upward, absolutely, dude. Like it's crazy.
God.
At some point during all this, I'm glossing over a lot so it doesn't take too long, but he married someone and had a child.
Nice.
I know.
Mazel tov.
Okay, I'm the single man. Both of you are married, and I brought up this issue I'm having, where it's upsetting me, where I'm seeing these serial killers.
Oh, he's fucked up people.
Oh,
He's fucked up.
all these Dennis Rader dickheads are all married
Yeah,
for like
how the
decades.
fuck does he have a girlfriend? How the fuck does he get married? I'm struggling over here, and this guy's just like, yeah, pull it off. Oh, I didn't like her. Gotta get rid of her and find another one.
Yeah, but Edmund Kemper had a bunch of co-eds with him, but he also like decapitated all of them. So I wouldn't say like that should be your like watermark for like romantic success.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case for you. Either way, his wife and their young son moved to Paris because I think he already bled that town dry. And he began to build up a very successful medical practice at 66 Rue Camartine. I think that's an address.
I think French or Rue is French for road.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an
Right?
address. Yeah. During all of this, Petio was briefly institutionalized for his persistent kleptomania. And he blamed his illness on a new type of enema that he created. It was suction-based.
Oh,
In court, he said that's why he steals a bunch of shit. Just wanted y'all to know that. Now, for a little bit of backstory there, a lot of medical practitioners at the time thought that a lot of health problems came from us not getting all the shit out, literally. So it wasn't that unusual for a doctor to be working on an enema-like device. But a shit vacuum being the reason that he stole shit he didn't need all the time? That's fucking...
I got too much of the bad shit in me, Doc.
I mean, that's fucking poetic right there. The fucking balls on this guy. And it's got to be similar to how he managed to not be committed to an asylum, but ended up interning at one and get a medical degree.
Dude, his defense is that he's literally full of shit.
Yeah. Or wasn't full of enough shit? I don't know.
He didn't have the good shit in him?
Didn't work, and so he's full of shit, and that's why he steals stuff. Who knows? I mean, seriously. Fucking, he's amazing. You know, like an incredible con artist. Wow. Now, the outbreak of World War II comes into play here, and the fall of France to the Nazi regime likely overshadowed whatever concerns anyone may have had about all that. So he kind of got away, but he's on their radar now.
Yeah, because it's hard to be like, this bass drum stealing fuck really needs to get voted out of power, but also the Nazis are goose stepping across the fucking like Arc de Triomphe or whatever.
They're like, let's not worry about that. That's
yeah, we got bigger problems.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So,
man, lucky break.
Yeah.
I really hope this is the villain, but it becomes the good guy because he like the
He
new
just starts
enemy
like
is the Nazis.
experimenting on Nazis.
Yeah, like that's what I'm hoping. It's like this. This is like the
if this
twist.
thing like does a 180 spin into him like torturing Inglourious Bastard style like Nazis, I'm gonna give him a pass for all the other
like
stuff.
he becomes like the Nazi like
Boogeyman, like
no, even better, like he gets elected as like a high ranking like Nazi official and just embezzles like all of their money.
he just bleeds them dry and kills them.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna stop him from the inside.
Technically, he is a Nazi, but he did bring down the Nazis. So
Really, he's just like a double agent for the French Resistance, you know? I assume that's not where this is going.
I'm hoping it is. Let's keep going.
The physician was also fined 2,400 francs, as well as like this kleptomania thing. But they tacked on him prescribing illicit narcotics, a charge which would have gone to trial if the two addicts set to testify against him did not mysteriously disappear shortly before the trial.
Like they do. That happens.
Yes.
Now, for Petiot, Nazi-occupied France provided the perfect backdrop in which he would commit his crimes. The country stood divided primarily by Nazi sympathizers and those actively trying to overthrow or like outrun the Gestapo, right? Petiot capitalized on the state of fear, taking advantage of the latter. He conceived a plan that would be both fiscally and corporally lucrative. He started by professing himself a member of the French Resistance, perhaps to garner public trust and admiration, and thus better conceal his illicit acts, which increasingly involved the sale of illegal drugs. He supposedly developed secret weapons that killed Germans without leaving forensic evidence. He planted booby traps all over Paris, had high-level meetings with Allied commanders, and worked with a non-existent group of Spanish anti-fascists. There's no evidence to support any of these statements, by the way.
Dude, the balls on this guy.
I'm hoping he's just setting up bear traps on sidewalks. He's like, see, I'm bringing the Nazis down.
My leg! You don't know. They could be a Nazi.
Yeah, it could be a Nazi.
You can never tell. That's
Now,
how they're dangerous.
His most lucrative activity during the occupation was his false escape route. Under the codename Dr. Eugene, Petiot pretended to have a means of getting people wanted by the Germans or the Vichy government to safety outside of France. Petiot claimed that he could arrange passage to Argentina or elsewhere in South America through Portugal for a price of 25,000 francs per person, which is roughly nearly $500,000 today. So anybody that's trying to run away from the Germans, he says, hey, give me $500,000 and I'll get your ass to South America, right? He had three accomplices in this, Raoul Fourier, Edmond Pintard, and René Gustave Nezondet, I think. I don't know. I'm terrible at French.
You're doing great.
Thank you. They directed victims to Dr. Eugene, including Jews, resistant fighters, and ordinary criminals. Once victims were in his control, Petiot told them that the Argentine officials required all entrants to the country to be inoculated against disease. And with this excuse, he injected them with cyanide. He then took all their valuables and disposed of the bodies in the Seine River.
This piece of shit.
Okay, that's fucked up. But real quick, I want you to imagine, like, let's say he didn't do the cyanide thing. Let's say, like, there's someone who is actually, like, shipping off these people to Argentina to safety.
Yep.
Imagine you get to live happily, comfortably, and you get to watch the war unfold.
Uh-huh.
You know? And,
You're just chilling in Argentina.
and then you hear the Nazis have fallen, and you're like, we did it. We did it. And then, like, a bunch of Nazis show up and
All these Germans
like,
move.
what the
Suddenly, all your neighbors are speaking German, and they're like, "What? The Third Reich?"
That's true. A lot of them did run away.
Yeah,
to South
yeah. So I
America,
imagine like Greta, bring the schnitzel. No, we are not German.
I am from Chile.
So yeah, sorry. Keep going.
So he's doing this horrible, horrible thing. The Gestapo's presence in the streets of France grew. It became too risky for him to take the bodies out of the house and dispose of them. So eventually, he started putting the bodies in vats of quicklime to disintegrate them, and then also was starting to incinerate them in his like furnace and down in the basement.
Hang on. So the Gestapo doesn't know.
No, they have no clue, but the heat's on. Like
That's
he can't be-
hilarious. Like
he
he's
can't be
helping
dragging
them.
big-
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like if they found out, they probably would have been like, "Oh, keep doing what you're doing."
Yeah, keep doing.
Yeah.
I like your work.
Right, but he can't be dragging big trunks anymore out to his car. You know?
Rookie mistake. You let it slide once.
You can only do it once.
Yeah.
They catch on.
So they eventually caught wind of Dr. Eugene's activities and arrested his accomplices. Under torture, they revealed his real name, Marcel Petiot. By the time the Gestapo went to find him, Petiot had fled to another part of Paris. Now he's working out of 21 Rue Les Soeurs. Sans.
Hang on. He doesn't skip town. He stays in
He
town.
stays in Paris, yeah.
He just goes to a different neighborhood in Paris.
Yeah.
In Nazi-occupied Paris. Where the Gestapo are now like, hey, he's now on their radar.
Yeah, I just moved to the west side. They'll never catch me.
And so the task of disposing of these bodies had become overwhelming for him. And for reasons that remain unclear, Petiot left town for a few days in March of 1944. While away, his neighbors began to notice a terrible odor emanating from his house, and that the smoke radiating from the chimney was unusually noxious. When the police arrived to investigate, thinking perhaps there was some kind of fire, they found a note on the door saying that Dr. Petiot was out of town but would return in a few days. They proceeded to contact him and let him know about his home's abnormal condition. Petiot told them not to enter the house until he arrived.
Hey, cops. I appreciate you guys going to check everything out, but can you let me get in there first and kind of clean up a little bit? You know, bachelors, you know how it is.
They apparently waited for nearly an hour before they entered,
Oh, my God.
along with some firemen. What they found was unlike anything they'd ever seen. Bodies, but not whole bodies, just parts of bodies were strewn all over his house. Some were in canvas sacks or suitcases. The garbage had vats of quicklime, an incinerator filled with limbs and bones. All told, they found at least 10 corpses in the house, though none of them were intact. He arrived shortly thereafter.
He came back.
He came back, attempting to explain that he was a member of the resistance.
No.
And that the bodies were those of Germans and traitors who he had slain.
He thought he could talk his way out of this. I mean, I guess he talked his way out of everything else.
The police believe Petiot's tale enough
No.
not to arrest him then and there. Which is, I don't know, maybe a little believable if you're like Parisian police officers.
If
and
you're-
like, there's Gestapo everywhere, and you're like, oh, cool, this guy's killing these fuckers. Maybe.
I guess I could see a situation where
Maybe.
a tired, beat-ass French resistance detective is like, look, I'm going to let
Yeah.
this guy keep going.
Right.
This just takes that much less
Yeah.
pressure off my back. And also, do I really want to break open this egg and see what kind of yolk's inside? Like,
Well, apparently, Commissioner Georges Victor Massou took charge of an official investigation into the man he believed was a dangerous lunatic. Once he rounded up Petio's wife and brother, Maurice, along with the men who had helped Petio when he lived back in the other town, the true picture fully came together. The police arrested all of them as accomplices. When they arrived at Petio's home to arrest him and charge him with murder, he was gone.
He'll come back.
Yeah, right. The invasion of Normandy in June of 1944 put the search for Petio on hold. Using the war to his advantage, yet again, Petio hid with friends, explaining that the Gestapo pursued him because he'd murdered some informers. Throughout this period, Petio took on a number of different names, let his hair and beard grow out, and managed to evade capture for at least another month. Unable to keep a low enough profile, Petio actually did join up with the resistance fighters. While operating under assumed name, Petio gained so much notoriety as a resistance fighter that a French periodical ran a profile of him. When the papers hit the stands, several people recognized him as Petio and alerted the police that the murderer, in fact, was still in Paris. Still in Paris. He's a genius and an insane con man. A fucking idiot, dude. Like, go somewhere else. Come on.
He thought looking like John Lennon post Beatles would save him. Like,
and then someone recognized him at a train station in February of 1944, at which point police arrested him and charged him with murder. He went on trial in March 19th of 1946 with 135 criminal charges. Throughout this trial, Petio maintained that he only killed enemies of France and that he did so simply to carry out his duties as a resistance fighter. In supporting his case, he made the misstep of listing some resistant groups by name, groups which trial attendees told Petio did not exist. He's on stand being like, no, I'm with these guys, with the fucking long necks over here, you know? I'm a part of the giraffes, okay? And they're like, yeah, bro, those aren't fucking
that's
real.
no.
You idiot. Once the investigation revealed that Petio had stolen from those he killed, he was charged with murder for profit. Over the course of his murders, Petio made off with more than 200,000 francs, something like 200 million.
Jesus.
Over the course of the trial, Petio admitted to killing some, but not all, of the 27 victims found in his house. Throughout his life, he had killed at least 60 people, though he was convicted of 26 murders. The court sentenced Petio to death by beheading. He was guillotined, which is so fucking awesomely French, on May 25th of 1946.
I know Joseph did
the executions
yeah,
one?
we should bring back the guillotine.
I'm all in favor of wheeling it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I would say cutting their head off very quickly and cleanly or shooting them in the head. That's probably the best.
I'd say if
way to go
you're
about it.
in the common square in, I don't know if this is just off the top of my head, Washington, D.C., and you have some heads rolling, literally,
Yeah.
It makes people pay attention.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'd say so. I'm okay with that. Especially for this fucker. They think 60, I heard or I read at some point 68 is a rough count based off of like people that had gone missing while he was around and these different, because he bounced around a lot. And
Did they just match it to the number of trunks he bought and then lost, quote unquote?
yeah. The trunk guy around the street, you know.
The trunk guy was making some bank,
Yeah,
man.
he's
Loved
like,
that.
He's
He's
my
like, this
best
dude's
customer.
awesome. I don't ask, he don't tell.
He loses a trunk like every other day. This is great. And he wants the extra large. It's awesome.
Every time.
Every time the extra large. And he gets them lacquered too so that they're leak proof. I mean, this guy, man.
Yeah.
He sent my kids to college.
But yeah, that's Dr. Satan for you.
That's Dr. Satan.
Hang on. So who named him Dr. Satan?
The
Yeah.
papers around the time of the trial.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, even though like World War II is in full fucking swing, I'm pretty sure he still made some headlines.
Oh, dude, yeah. And I really hope whatever French reporter came up with Dr. Satan got a raise.
I think so. Yeah, let's say he did.
Let's just, yeah.
For me to sleep well tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, for me to believe the world is at least somewhat fair.
Yeah. But, you know, I put a lot of thought into this while I was putting this thing together. I don't think that he was like I don't think he got any real sexual gratification out of this.
He doesn't seem like a sexual killer.
I don't think that he had some kind of, I'm sure he grew to love it. But
Yeah.
like, I don't think that this was like a compulsive need to kill someone. He seriously just strikes me as a con artist through and through. And so he's like, oh, easy advantage. Give me a lot of your money, and then I'm going to kill you because that's cheaper and easier and faster than actually doing what I'm saying.
Right. It seemed less about
And
the
I'm also
killing.
going to take all your shit.
Yeah.
That you have in your pockets.
And more the killing was just a way to keep any of that stuff from coming back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just like the worst possible version of a kleptomaniac ever. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to steal from anybody, anywhere, any way that he can. And he quickly realized that killing a bunch of fucking people is the most profitable.
Do you know if it was always a syringe full of like cyanide or some kind of poison that he pretty much always?
Yeah, that was his spiel.
Yeah. He found it worked for him.
He's wearing his lab coat. He's got his needle, and he's like,
Probably got access to just gobs of cyanide.
I got to give you this vaccine so I can get you over there.
Yeah.
Boom, dead.
Yeah,
That's why I don't get vaccinated.
I should have been. Shut up.
Well, that was Joseph, everyone.
Don't call me out like that. No, I stand behind it. I don't want to get poisoned.
Oh, no, I mean, please leave.
That must have been so easy just to murder people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're like he doesn't have to put up a fight. He's just like
it's not like they're doing toxicology reports on all these people either.
Well, I mean, shit, they cut them up and tried to burn them or dissolve them.
Yeah.
pretty.
And also, I don't think that they were that good at forensics yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it seems like they just, back in the day, accepted people mysteriously disappearing as a matter of course. Mm-hmm. Like, they were just like, yeah, people mysteriously disappear all the time.
Yeah, Steve left last week. I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah. If the guy moves 20 miles from here, we'll never see him again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. Man, what a guy.
Dr. Satan. I was expecting a lot more hack and slash with a name like Dr. Satan, but I am not at all disappointed.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Fine. Great.
I mean, I would say
I love this one.
he hacked and slashed a lot. It's just, there wasn't a lot of detail on that. Although I will say there was something, I'm glad you reminded me. When they did break into his house and see it, apparently they were there was an arm just hanging out of the incinerator in the basement. And then again, to remind you, there were body parts in canvas bags and trunks.
Yeah.
And suitcases.
Did he ever explain why he was out of town?
No, it's I couldn't find any reason as to why he randomly dipped.
Because you have to think he's in the middle of burning a body. He's like, man, I'm burnt out. I'm gonna go on a little mini vacay and just bounce. That's what you're doing.
I might just take a little horse cart to Leon, and just see the sights.
I've had a week, man. Yeah, let's go.
You know how many bodies I've had to burn all week?
My lower back is killing me. I mean, I might sue for pain and suffering.
Oh, my sciatica. Oh,
nice.
I need a trip. I just need to de-stress.
So great.
Also, while World War II is going on, he's killing a bunch of people, and the Nazis and the Allies are literally bombing the shit out of each other.
Knocking on his door.
And this dude's like, I could really use a long weekend.
That's awesome. Well, we want to wrap this up with anything?
Nice.
Well, I'm Graham Bramlett. Don't fucking charge a lot of people a lot of money to get somebody out and then kill them. I think that's a bad idea.
I think the moral and the lesson is if you're gonna embezzle, don't murder, because it seemed like he was doing just fine with the embezzling.
Yeah.
As long as he didn't murder them, and then he kind of fucked up by just
This is Joseph, and I'm going to say that my big takeaway is if you're going to murder and embezzle, that's apparently fine. You can get away with that for a while. Maybe not in the middle of a world war.
I think that's what saved him. I think you should, if you're going to do it in the middle of a war.
I mean, yeah, you can hide in the chaos for a little bit, but then you have the Gestapo and the French resistance both wanting your ass.
I mean, he moved to a different side of town and was perfectly fine. You said he
not perfectly fine. He got caught.
No, he got caught because he was being a show off and got his face in the papers. If he would have just hunkered down, stayed low,
that's true,
or skipped town.
Or, dispose of all the body parts before you take a long weekend. I don't know. Oh, so good.
Oh, man.
Well, until next time, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And the book of mysteries closes on our heroes. Until next time, my fellow wanderers, my kindred spirits in the graveyard, we've had some laughs, some scares, and maybe even learned something along the way. Think of us for your next podcast listening pleasure. Think of us when you go to sleep at night. The house settles, and you close your eyes and feel something there.
If you like what you hear, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Trashville_USA, and if there's a true crime story you want us to cover, please email us at don'temailtrashville@gmail.com.